hello, hello. I really want to come up with a name for you all that follow me, like Ivy Aliens or something like that. I don't know yet, but I'm going to come up with something. You guys have got to send me your ideas, right? I appreciate you all following me over the years. I appreciate you always participating and interacting with me. And so today I want to bring you something as we are participating in conversations with Coach Ivy. So again, thank you for tuning in. I hope you watch this interview in its entirety because I've got a treat for you. This guy right here, he is phenomenal at what he does. His energy just comes through. He doesn't have to be where you are face to face, right? We're in a virtual world anyway. But his energy is so high, his enthusiasm, his motivation, his ability to think differently and see things differently. He and I can be talking about the same thing and he'll see it completely different. And so I am so excited to share with you Mr. Nile here. He is most certainly an expert in his field as he has coined himself as a competitive, catch that, competitive advantage strategist. Okay. So keep that in mind, competitive advantage. Some of my professionals that I've worked with, we talk about those two words. We talk about being competitive. And some of you don't necessarily want to compete, and that's fine, right? But when we talk about competitive and having an advantage, that sounds like a winner in the making to me. You've got to have a certain level of competitiveness about you, right? And y'all know me, those that have been working with me for years, you know that I always say, hey, it's not a race. I just want to win, right? And so this guy here, he does a phenomenal job at helping you to do just that, to win and to do it with grace and excellence. So I introduce to you Mr. Nile, right? Again, our competitive advantage strategist. He's going to share with us, right, what it is he does, how he does it. We're going to talk about his superpower as well. He is the founder of Going Up. Now, it doesn't take a whole lot of words. It's just that simple. Going up. Now, what you do with it, that's on you, right? But I know what it does for me. It gets me hyped. It gets me energized. It gets me pumped up. And it gives me direction. And I hope that it does the same for you. So without further delay, we have with us Mr. Nile. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Conversations with Coach Ivy. How are you doing?
Fantastic. That was an amazing introduction, and I'm so excited about this. So thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. So tell us where you're from, how long you've been doing your thing. Tell us a little bit.
Well, I've actually been quietly coaching for some time. I've been coaching since 2009. And
Yeah.
it's been some time. And I came from the corporate world, but always felt the need to be able to serve people in some way or another. I ended up in training development for major banks here in Canada, up in Canada, north of the border of the US there. And
Yeah.
I love training development because I love sharing ideas, and I love being able, I've always wanted people to be able to take their ideas and learn more so they could take themselves a little further. And when we can actually hone in on growth, and
Yeah.
that's a big foundation to everything, we know that we're actually moving forward in a big way. So I've been coaching since 2009. I've just recently been making myself a little bit more public in that way because I've been quietly coaching with clients on a different level, and it's been an amazing journey.
Right. I love it. I love it. And I just noticed your shirt. Can you read that for us? Do you know?
It says go on up. This is my definition. You can actually
Yeah.
see all of this definition. I actually came up with goonup.co. Goonup.co is my website. You can see all the details there, but it's going up. And it's the idea of being able to say that we're taking incremental positive steps in the right direction so we can prepare ourselves forward for success and fulfillment in any area of our lives.
I love it. And so it's like your coined term, right?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And again, it gives you direction, it gives you focus, and it's just it starts conversation, as you
I
can
think it does.
it definitely starts
It
conversation,
does.
right? And so I love that. I love it. So if you could please share with us your actual niche. I don't like to put people in a box, but at the same time, we all have our lanes. We all have our expertise. What would you say yours is?
You know what? My niche, and it's interesting. I would say because of my background and having been an entrepreneur for a number of years now, I've been able to personally experience the highs and the lows when it comes to entrepreneur life. So I work really well with entrepreneurs because we're not only working on business aspects and the business of being able to move things forward, but on the personal side of their entrepreneurs. Because honestly, entrepreneurs are not just robots operating a business and an operation. They have their own personal lives, their own well-being, the way they carry themselves personally with confidence, health-wise, inspiration, coming up and being able to have the clarity to not only take themselves to another level, but their business to another level. So I work with entrepreneurs on a number of different levels. But again, I don't shy away with helping people on a personal level on being a strategist in that regard. So when I say strategist, by the way, I focus on the fact that I'm not here as a strategist when it comes to only tactical approaches for a business or an entrepreneur. We all need strategists, strategies within ourselves to be able to up our game so we are healthier for our kids, healthier for ourselves, being able to serve more, even our neighbors next door.
I love that. I love that. So would you say that you have a superpower? Of course you do, right? What is your superpower?
My superpower, it's interesting. I wouldn't say it's a superpower. I think everybody has this in them. Sometimes it just gets buried, or we get distracted in some way or another. But I really love pushing the envelope a little bit. When I'm working with clients and businesses, the idea of posing questions to them that maybe they're not even open to considering and opening to exploring, whether it's fear, whether they don't see it or not. But at the same time, I love to flip ideas on their head so they could see a whole new perspective. And once we see a whole new perspective, it really opens up new paths. When we open up new paths, that's where we have that opportunity to grow and be able to actually move ourselves forward in a greater way.
Yes. In one of our previous conversations, you said, and I quote, taking a seed and making it explode. What does that mean to you?
That was actually pretty off the cuff, and it seemed so powerful, I think, for both of us, because it's not something that I even really thought about. We were in such a great conversation. Like, it was the energy between us was unbelievable. The idea is, it's amazing that once we do plant a seed and we actually be able to give it the proper soil, the care, the thoughts, the focus, the water, the light, the support that it needs.
Wow.
It's only then that it'll explode into something that we can grow into more. And I think it's so true. And it comes down to, this could actually, be in an unfavorable way. If we plant the wrong seeds, those could explode in a wrong way. If we plant the right seeds and the right ingredients and a combination of all the things that we need to apply for it to flourish, there's unbelievable opportunity.
Wow. Wow. Now, I wonder if that takes me into my next question for you, which is, what do you live by as a strategist?
Yeah. Again, I don't think I'm alone. I think I just love sharing this with more people, even when it comes to clients and even someone like yourself and what you do and how many people you've touched. I live by growth. Growth is so important. I know that, we've all had struggles and times where we need to be able to break free or get unstuck. And the only way at times when we're stuck, we don't feel like we're growing. We actually feel like we're taking steps backwards or not gaining the grounds that we want to gain. And that is so vitally important to actually, first of all, be aware.
Yes.
We have to be aware of it and know that we're not spinning our wheels in some deep puddle of mud. We need to be able to move ourselves. So I really do live by the idea of growth. I love reading. I love asking questions. I love exploring new ideas. I'm not afraid when somebody were to come to the table and say, if I actually ask them a question saying, hey, what's your top 3 skills?
Yeah.
And they come to a point of and they say to me, I don't know what to do with these. I was like, okay, well, what if you considered this? Do you enjoy this? Do you enjoy that? Close-ended questions, but the point is, I want to stimulate thought. And when we start stimulating thought, then we're actually able to move ourselves to saying, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give you a quick story if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to just make sure I fix my lighting for a second. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure that you can see me clearly. How's that? A little bit better?
Oh, yes.
A little better. So
Yeah.
sorry about that.
That's
The sun started coming through and I got washed out.
Which is a good thing.
It's a good thing, I guess. Yeah, it's been a little cloudy here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Years ago, I used to love exercising and working out and bodybuilding, but I also love to dance.
Wow.
And it's interesting when you're around people, whether it's your parents or family and so on, and they don't see the same interests, then they would say, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, what's happening here?
Wow.
But at that time, I knew that I was still following a hobby and a passion within myself.
Yeah.
But who knew years later, as an adult, that I would fall into the fitness field in the areas of dance fitness.
Wow.
And it led me to some unbelievable great opportunities to be able to travel the world, train unbelievable people in the industry, work and meet with great new people in the industry of health and wellness and so on. And then I expanded my horizons in wanting to reach more people in the areas of personal development, human behavior, growth, and opportunity. So it came full circle. I'm glad I didn't lose sight of that. But at the same time, I was able to tap into those skills and be able to move it forward. And I think everyone has that opportunity, whether it's in their careers, whether it's in their own personal lives. If we're able to actually feed that balance, so much can feed into that funnel as long as it's helping us move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned afraid, and that made me think about something as it pertains to and you said tap into, you just said tap into, and I like that too. So a lot of times people don't tap into, ultimately, some people don't know what's really inside of them. They're not aware of their magic sauce. They're not aware of their superpowers, right? They're not aware all the time. But for some that are aware and fail to tap in due to being afraid or that fear, as it shows up in the workplace, oftentimes, for example, leadership, right? That can be a skill, that can be a talent, you can be born with, you can be taught. That's a debate, right? But nonetheless, right, we have individuals that have identified that they have the skill or they have the desire or both, but they never really tap into and take advantage of leadership opportunities in the workplace. So what is one strategy that you would share with a professional as they're not tapping into, they're sitting in their fearfulness, right? They are allowing themselves to be afraid of really moving forward and going one up. Right?
I love it. I love it. This is such an important conversation. I'm so glad you brought this up. The idea of leadership and even wanting to move into a particular role. Here's what I would do. And here's what I've actually posed with a number of different conversations I've had. The idea is, first of all, we know that there's fear, but the fear stems from an unknown. And the idea is when it's unknown, and this is the fact, we are creatures that are, we're creatures that will actually move away from fear. We want to be able, we're not ones that face it. We're ones that actually move away from fear. We want to be happy, not in danger. And this is what happens. But at the same time, it's a matter of pausing. I believe that there's an unbelievable power in the pause, in pausing and realizing what is the true nature of the fear. If it really comes down to the idea of leadership, let's take a step back. Let's not look at the leadership role in a career setting just for a moment.
Okay.
Take a step back and realize, where else am I a leader?
Okay.
I'm a leader to myself. I'm the one that gets myself up every morning.
Yes.
I'm a leader to my children if I have children. I'm a leader to my spouse or partner if I have a partner. I'm a leader to maybe the team I'm managing.
Yes.
I'm a leader to what's actually led me to having the education and the gumption to be where I am right now.
That's right. That's right.
So having the leadership skills and the aspects of leadership is sprinkled within everybody, whether they can tap into it, like you talked about, is another thing altogether. Now, if we can bring it down to another level of realizing, what did it take for me to actually be in the role I'm in right now?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And if they reflect back and realize, well, I did this, I learned that. What did you do? You did this, you learned that. If you could do it then, and you're better today than you were yesterday, what's stopping you right now? And if you don't have the answers, there is so much we can explore.
Yeah.
This is where we expand on our networks, our colleagues, our leadership, human resources, people in the field.
Yeah.
People want, if we don't talk to our neighbors, if we don't talk to our colleagues right now in the organizations, taking that leadership role, you're going to not actually be in a great position.
Right.
Because today, all organizations, whether on Zoom or in an office place, the idea is we still need to collaborate.
Yeah.
Because we need to be on the same page, on the same team, moving in the same direction.
Absolutely.
So leadership in itself, it taps into, in order to break through the fear, just to summarize, and I know I touched on a lot of things there, the idea is break it down and recognize the skill sets that got you to where you are today.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is a stepping stone to realize, if I could be here now, I could be there tomorrow.
Exactly. So the power is within. They already have it.
They already have it. And if they don't, like I said, ask the questions. There's nothing wrong. We don't get anywhere. I'm not afraid to ask for directions. People are like, oh, men don't like to ask for directions when they're driving around. They get lost. No, I have no problem asking for directions. If someone's got more wisdom than me, I'm willing to ask them, because they have the wisdom.
Yeah.
They have the wisdom. And then why wouldn't I?
That's right.
I mean, and you're an expert in your field. I will come to you because you're the expert in your field.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I want to know more?
That's right. That's right. I love that. I love that. So that should lead us into this space of asking yourself a question, because you just said that, asking yourself these questions. And so as professionals prepare for their next, in your opinion, what is one good question that each professional should ask themselves as they're preparing to move on, right? As they're preparing to move up or forward or what have you? What is that question?
I think a really big question that one has to ask themselves, and it may sound overly simplistic, is why? The only reason why I say that is because we could actually be driven by the opportunity, the exposure, and so on. But does that really meet your deep-rooted why?
Yeah.
If you're a person that loves to interact with people, and you have an opportunity that may pay more because you're in a new division, but doing data entry by yourself,
right.
I think there's a little bit of an internal conflict there.
Yes.
Because if you know that you interact with people and you're able to empower them in another level, you want something that's sustainable, that feeds you. You want something that pulls you to doing what you want to do. It's not the reward and that's it and so on. That just dies out.
It does.
We need to believe in ourselves, and we need to know the why and why we're doing that. Because when we show up from our genuine space,
yes,
we're being real.
Absolutely.
We're being genuine. More of us shows up without us even knowing.
Yeah. Right. I like that. That's good. Yeah. That's good stuff.
Does that help?
Why? So something came to mind when you said it needs to be more than just rewarding in a sense. The word temporary, it's kind of like a temporary fix, right? So would you say that if your why isn't truly, because you said deep rooted, you didn't say rooted, you said deep rooted. So if your why is not a deep rooted answer, do you think that tree could be easily swayed?
I believe so. I think when the winds comes, if it's not deeply rooted, when that hard wind comes by to try and knock you down, your roots are not sunken in and thick enough into that ground. You're going to be knocked over, and your roots will be completely exposed. And that's what the point is. Your own identity will be exposed. Wow. And the fact is, I thought you could do this. I thought you could do that. Well, my heart's not in it.
That's good.
And if you have a deep rooted why, your heart's in it.
Yes.
That's what I mean when it's sustainable.
Right. You are teaching us today. You are talking. Yes, absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love the passion that you have. And I think that that's what I try to get a lot of my professionals to see and find. Ultimately, like, hey, y'all can see his passion. So you need to see that. It needs to show up. And when that passion shows up that you just saw show up in Nile, you know that you're going in the right direction. You know that you're talking about something that really matters to you. Because at the end of the day, if you don't show up in something, you don't show up in that role, that position on the job, then why are you doing it? It's back to the why. It's back to the why, professionals. So listen to him. Listen to Niall. Now he's really getting you to think about some things. And again, I don't want you to take the passion that just showed up in him lightly. Okay. I do want to challenge you to find that same passion that you have. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the same thing, but you just see it come out. And Niall and I were talking before we actually went into our interview space. And I was kind of pivoting.
I'm so sorry about that.
Two different questions. And I said, I'm not sure which way I want to go with this. So I offered now my first thought. And then I went into my second thought. I said, but then again, I might want to talk about this. And y'all, I started talking left and right about that topic. And Niall and I both realized that was it. Because I kept talking. I couldn't stop myself. I got excited. Y'all know I talk with my hands anyway, but I got excited. And so I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that passion and your ability to recognize it when it shows up, right? When it really shows up. And so Niall's baby back there, he wants to speak to y'all. Y'all hear him talking to y'all? Speak back to the baby.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, you are fine. You don't have to apologize at all. Okay, so I'm a pet lover, so you don't have to apologize, my friend. So here's my question, right? Here's my question to you. So ultimately, when fear shows up in the workplace, you're saying, I just want to make sure I drive this point home, that it's not about really serving in an identified title as a leader. It's your ability to show up as a leader in any aspect of your life every day.
We're all leaders. We're all leaders.
Wow.
We're all leaders. The fact is, we lead ourselves in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Again, we actually lead ourselves as parents and as individuals. We lead ourselves to a point of knowing that we're moving ourselves to eat healthfully. We need to be able to learn more, to be able to actually calculate with what's going to work within us so we can take the next step forward.
Absolutely.
We're all leaders, but it all comes down to how do we want to show up as a leader? How do we want to show that? So the fact is, we're going to have off days. I'm not perfect.
Yes.
Okay. But I know that if I'm going to have off days and I'm feeling like lethargic and I worked late and there's something that was just, I didn't feel 100% that morning.
Right.
That's okay. The fact is, but I know deep down, I'm not just throwing in the towel and saying, see ya. Exactly. That's not the case. I know I'm going to have off days. So I'm allowed to be gentle with myself. But we still have to have opportunities to say, hey, I'm going to take leadership even for myself to know that I got to be gentle with myself right now. But there's the idea that we need to move forward in every single area. And that's where leadership and ownership and responsibility comes into play. And that's not to be mean and that's not to be harsh. That's the idea of knowing I'm in control.
Right.
You're in control.
Yes. I love that.
You're in control. And if you don't feel as though you're in control, get the answers. Ask the questions. If you feel as though you've been striving for a new position within an organization or within your team or trying to get more out of your teams, have a round table.
Right.
Ask the questions.
Right.
Saying, how is everybody feeling right now? So if I threw out this project that we did last quarter, how does that make everybody feel? You're going to watch their body. You're going to be, they'll give you like, oh, that was exhausting. And you realize, okay, tell me more. And they said, well, this process didn't work. That didn't process. I was like, wow, I didn't know that process didn't work. But by asking that initial question, you're going to be able to be more acutely aware and sensitive to even their body language or their words or their tones to say, I didn't know that process didn't work. So you
Right.
did double the amount of work that was unnecessary. We need to fix that for next project.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow.
The leadership role, even your management role, or the leadership to be able to say, oh, I was asked a question. I think this is my opportunity to clarify that that project didn't work.
I like that. Seize those opportunities.
Seize them.
Love
And
it.
I know it's overly used and it's spoken of all the time, but the
Yeah.
fact is, if you have an opportunity and you're all sitting around equals to say, hey, how does everybody feel today? I wanted to find out and do a check-in. Let's do a check-in. And if we're going to check in, let's say from a scale of 1 to 10, some people like to work on scales. I'm
Yeah.
sitting at about a 6. Oh, what about you, Jane?
Yeah.
5. 5. Okay. Do you mind sharing? I don't know if it's, if it have anything to do with the last project.
Right.
Having the conversation, posing the questions, exploring that so people can have a sense of relief to know that you've got their back, they've got your back. Next thing you know, you're collaborating and being able to be a cohesive unit. And there's nothing stopping anybody that'll be on the same page.
Wow. I love that. You have shared so much with us. So many
Thank you. This is awesome.
So many different nuggets for us to use, as we all should be striving to grow and be better tomorrow than we were on yesterday. And so hopefully everyone, all of my professionals, you're able to glean and get something from that conversation right here on Conversations with Coach Ivy. So if you want to get in touch with this guy here, right, how can we contact you? Could you please share your contact information?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this. And this was an amazing conversation. I can be reached at GoOneUp, GoOneUp.co. So GoOneUp.co. And I'm actually, my handle across all the social media is GoOneUpNow. Okay. So if you put the @ sign or find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, which I'm expanding on, and so on there. Yes, but yeah, feel free to reach out if you have questions and so on. But this lady right here, she's got it going on.
I'm just trying to do my part, right?
But you're doing it well, that's for sure.
I'm trying to pour back.
You're doing it well. Absolutely.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for your time. Again, I hope that everyone was able to learn something new, even if it was just something from our guy here, who is an expert at many things, right? And his willingness to share with us. So again, I can only take you but so far. And so I'm bringing in different coaches and strategists and consultants to share with you things that I have not exposed to. Only they can tell their story and their experiences. And then they're opening up that world and sharing with you so that you can learn and you can grow. So thank you for tuning in with us. Again, we have Nile here all the way from Canada, right? Sharing with us on today. We appreciate you, Nile. It has been an honor and a pleasure. I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and make sure that as you are preparing for your next, we challenge you to go inward and ask yourself why. All right, I am signing off. I'm Coach Ivy here with Ivy Gray Career Services, and as always, I'm here as you are preparing for your next big thing. So make sure you reach out to me and have an awesome day. Thank you.